when you give $500,000 to Al Sharpton, and NBC doesn't even know you gave it to him, and then he goes on MSNBC and interviews Kamala Harris with the biggest cupcakes you've ever seen. When that happens, I don't think you want to bring up any corruption. When you're giving Oprah $2.5 million for Harpo, her production company.
So Bill O'Reilly went on News Nation and completely obliterated the DNC for squandering nearly $1.5 billion in a mere 3 months trying to defeat Donald Trump in this last 2024 election, which completely failed. And I don't necessarily agree with Bill O'Reilly on some of his takes, especially the ones that pertain to the Second Amendment. But this one isn't about that. This one is Bill O'Reilly on News Nation breaking down the Democratic Party and the DNC's squandering of the $1.5 billion trying to defeat Donald Trump. Let's check it out.
What's your take on this whole, we didn't do anything wrong, it's not our fault, the podcast went on for an hour and a half, and they didn't really admit one mistake?
Okay, it's like the New York Jets. You guys follow the football, nobody did anything wrong, and they're 3-8. Look, Kamala Harris was a bad candidate. She reminded me of John Kerry. Remember John Kerry running for president? Just didn't connect with any of the folks. She was a very far left, the most far left presidential candidate in history. And we didn't know it until 3 weeks ago tonight. Americans don't want that. They don't want biological men playing sports against girls. They don't want punishing taxation toward those who are successful in the marketplace. They don't want 14 million foreign nationals running around unattended in the country. They don't want any of this, all right? And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they engineered all of that crazy stuff. In addition, all you have to do, if you're really fair, and of course partisan political players on both sides are not fair, fairness is the furthest thing from their mind, all you have to do is analyze the Brett Baier interview on Fox. So Baier was allowed to get, I think, 9 questions in the 21 minutes that he had. Only a 21-minute interview. They had a clock on it, and Kamala's people, probably some that were in that podcast, were going, "Oh, cut. You know, why? She's there, talk to Baier." Out of the 9 questions, she didn't answer one. Not one. So even the dimmest American, even the people who have no blanket idea what's going around them, they go, how come she won't answer any questions? Bad candidate. That's why she lost.
Yeah, and I think they came back and said they were like dumb questions or something like that. And just watching the podcast with her leadership team, it seems like they lost touch in a sense with regular Americans. I mean, building up the, you know,
they never had touch with regular Americans. Brian, they never had touch with regular Americans. If you live in a progressive bubble, a Los Angeles, Manhattan, Washington, D.C. bubble, you don't know anything about the folks. And the same thing on the right. If you live in this unbelievable, narrow caste where every Democrat is bad, everything on the other side is evil, you don't have touch with the folks. The folks want common sense. They want lower prices in the grocery store. Ms. Harris, the vice president, couldn't explain why the prices went up. She couldn't explain how she was going to bring them down. She would say things like, I'm going to get the price gougers. Well, how, madam? How are you going to do that in a capitalist society? You know, never explained. Very bad candidate.
And not only did she simply say, I'm going to go after the price gouging, she wasn't able to deflect the rebuttal from the right when they said, what are you talking about? We can look at the margins in grocery stores, and most of these grocery stores are operating on 1 to 2% profit margins. Where's the price gouging? Not to mention, price gouging is already illegal in certain situations, right? If there is a hurricane that comes through and a city is devastated, it's illegal for any company to raise the price on anything, pretty much. When a hurricane comes through Florida, some genius out there thinks, oh, I have a great idea. I'll start charging $5 for a bottle of water. Well, guess what? That is already illegal.
I want to play you another clip, Bill. This is from the same podcast. They accused Trump of even doing something illegal. Take a listen to this.
And he had an army of super PACs that were so coordinated. I'm sure there's some legal way they were coordinated, but like...
I'm sure it was legal.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Or illegal.
Yes.
Okay, so they say an army of super PACs, but then at the same time, we know they spent $1.5 billion, maybe $2 billion. Is there really a difference? I had a buddy of mine saying, oh, but Elon gave so much money in Pennsylvania, but it wasn't the same thing happening on the other side, too?
Both had enough money to do whatever they wanted to do. When you give $500,000 to Al Sharpton, and NBC doesn't even know you gave it to him, and then he goes on MSNBC and interviews Kamala Harris with the biggest cupcakes you've ever seen. When that happens, I don't think you want to bring up any corruption. When you're giving Oprah $2.5 million for Harpo, her production company, for a day, it was like a spa day with Kamala and Oprah. Let's go to the spa. Let's get our nails done. And I know I'm going to be accused of being a misogynist, whatever, but that's what it was like. $2.5 million. Come on. And then you're sitting around a table going, Trump had an army of people. So ridiculous. I hope people see the absurdity of all of this.
And we do see the absurdity of all of that, right? Kamala Harris had the opportunity to go on Joe Rogan's show, which would have been for free. It not only showed how selective they were being with their interviews, it also exposed the idea that Kamala Harris was literally incapable of just sitting down and having a 3-hour talk with somebody, that the DNC did not trust her. She didn't trust herself, because she's going to be the president if they won. I mean, she has to have some type of authority, right? She has to be able to have the ability to say, hey, look, I don't care what you guys think. I'm going to go do this 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And Donald Trump just did it. And if I can't go mano a mano and show that I can do something better than Donald Trump, then we have no chance at winning. But no, she didn't do it. She failed, and the people saw right through it, right? And not only was it Oprah and Al Sharpton being paid, it was Beyonce and Megan Thee Stallion and who knows who else, right? And not only that, the DNC lied to their donors. They essentially were out here knowing that Kamala was behind in the polls, but telling the donors that Kamala was in the lead, which coaxed people out of giving more money. I mean, it's borderline a scam. It pretty much is a scam. Like, these people might have grounds to sue if Kamala Harris and the DNC knowingly lied, saying that she was leading in polls when their research behind the scenes indicated that she wasn't. People like Lindy Lee, a person who raised millions upon millions of dollars for the DNC, she's livid. And when she mentioned her disappointment in the fact that they squandered $1.5 billion putting people up in 5-star hotels as Kamala Harris traveled around and, traveling as expensive as possible and just wasting donor money, knowing that she was behind in the polls the way that they were, has led to Lindy Lee now being targeted by the left. They're calling her all kinds of things that she shouldn't be called. I mean, they should be thanking their lucky stars that a person like her is actually still willing to call herself a Democrat at this point. So anyways, I'm going to cut this one off right there. I'm fighting some type of upper respiratory infection or something like that going on in my head and throat. It's funny because I'm seeing all these videos on X talking about this strange mist, which to me is just, we get fog sometimes. But ironically, I seem to have come down with something. So with that, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel, click the link down in the description to join the Discord. I'll still be going live tonight, as I always do, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time on this channel with the Jar Openers podcast. We've been having a lot of fun over there. And other than that, thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.